What can you say? What can you say? What can you say? This is KD Drummond of Vlogging the Boys, and I'm here to recap for you the Cowboys' scintillating, exciting, nerve-wracking, whatever adjective you want to use to describe it, but it was a 38-23 victory over the rival Philadelphia Eagles. We entered this game with two 3-5 teams. Both teams hadn't been under 500 when they met since 1990. So that kind of tells you where this rivalry has been, even though the Cowboys for the last 15 or so years have been struggling, and the Eagles have had the upper hand for the most part. Still, there hadn't been a time when both teams were under 500. The game started off in bad fashion for the Cowboys. They gave up a touchdown on the first drive of the game. It was a beautiful one-handed catch by Riley Cooper. I can't take anything away from him, but that kind of started a bad game for our rookie cornerback Morris Claiborne. Fortunately for Dallas, though, they did respond. The running game was working as Felix, the Eagle killer, Jones, was able to maneuver in and out of the Eagles' front seven. He was aided by a big run by Lawrence Vickers, and Lance Dunbar came in and spelled him. He got some burn. And then an 11-yard screen pass to Felix Jones, where he evaded a couple of defenders, made them look kind of silly on his way to the end zone, tied the score up at 7. Now, the Cowboys were able to go into halftime with a 10-7 lead behind some questionable play calling. I think they could have definitely stretched out the lead. First things first, there was a play where Jason Witten bobbled a catch along the sideline, and they called it incomplete. Both referees on that side of the field called it incomplete. But if you freeze frame it, Jason Witten's foot is still touching down. His right foot is still touching the ground when he secures the catch, and then he gets his left foot in. That should have been called a catch on a crucial third down play, and that would have given Dallas a new set of downs, possibly going for the touchdown. Regardless, they scored a field goal, went up 10-7. There was some questionable play calling. They didn't go for it on fourth down on the Eagles side of the field when the defense was playing great. They had already gotten, I believe, three and outs to that point in the game. Nick Foles was in after the Cowboys had, harassed Michael Vick for the first half and eventually made him leave the game with a concussion/eye injury. So that was good to see, obviously not for Michael Vick, but for the Cowboys to actually be getting after a quarterback and causing some pain. That was, very nice to see. The second half started with Dallas in a bit of a scary position. They had a 3-and-out. They allowed the Eagles to take the lead 14-10 on a ridiculously bad play by Gerald Sensabaugh. The entire team was in man coverage. Gerald Sensabaugh was playing zone against the coaches of the Eagles because I had no idea if he even recognized what Jeremy Maclin was doing when he raced past him. Maclin sat down in the end zone. He clipped his toenails. He filed his late taxes for 2011. He called his baby mama. He did all types of things before the Nick Foles 44-yard touchdown pass fell into his lap. That was disgusting. It looked like more of the same for the Cowboys. They had another 3-and-out on offense. The Eagles came down, and they would have scored a touchdown most likely if it wasn't for King Dunlap making his egregious errors and then ending up settling for a field goal. And then everything changed for the Cowboys. They were able to, on a third down play, Romo showed his usual Romo magic. He's Houdini. For those people that are saying that Romo is one of the top 5 things wrong with his team, I just don't know what to tell you. You're not watching football. He escaped a sack several times in the same play and found Miles Austin over the middle for a 26-yard completion. That kept the drive going. A couple plays later, he threw a beautiful pass into the end zone where Dez Bryant made a diving catch. They did go to replay. It was called a touchdown on the field, and then it was confirmed because I guess even though the ball was moving and it did look to shake a little bit when he touched the ground, there wasn't enough evidence for them to overturn it. They use the phrase, the ruling on the field was upheld, which means that they really didn't see anything to say yay or nay that we should overturn this call. So that tied the score for the Cowboys 17-17. The defense came back out, forced a 3-and-out. It was a punt. Dwayne Harris took the punt from Matt McBriar, former Cowboy, raced up the left sideline, 78 yards for a touchdown. A couple plays later, Nick Foles, the rookie, had a pass behind Deshaun Jackson, who tipped it. It bounced off of Ernie Sims' leg. Ernie Sims has been great in his short time with the Cowboys, but Brandon Carr scooped it before it hit the turf, and he raced almost 50 yards for another scoring touchdown. The Cowboys scored 3 touchdowns within 2 minutes and 35 seconds of game clock action. It was actually the first scores by non-offensive players for the Cowboys outside of field goals and extra points, obviously, all season, dating back to last November when Terrence Newman He returned an interception for a touchdown last year. So all in all, it was a nice showing. Dallas did allow Philadelphia to close within one score with just under 2 minutes to go, but they missed the extra point. Dallas, decided that they were just going to run the ball, and they ended up punting to pin the Eagles back at their 11-yard line. And lo and behold, the Cowboys were able to get another sack. It was credited to Anthony Spencer by himself, but I believe when they review it, it'll be a split between DeMarcus Ware and Anthony Spencer, because Ware got him low, Spencer got him high, forced a fumble, and it was recovered in the end zone by Jason Hatcher to score the 38th point of the game. That's the final margin of victory. There was plenty of bad to go in this game. Morris Claiborne was abused. He had like 5 or 6 penalties. It was really his worst day of his rookie campaign, but that's what happens. Cornerback is probably the second hardest position to transition into the NFL behind quarterback, so we're not going to, hold him to the fire on this. He played a bad game. He's going to have to get better, but we think he will. Obviously, there was an injury late in the game to Brandon Carr, his leg. We're going to be waiting to hear what happens with that. Hopefully, he won't be out too long, because it looks like we're about to get DeMarco Murray back. With the way that the schedule is set up for the Cowboys, they just finished a very rough stretch. They had 3 sets of back-to-back road games this season. They split each of them, which when you look at it from an outsider's point of view, that's a pretty good stretch. If you have back-to-back road games through the 3 of them through the first 9 games of the season, and you come out, relatively unscathed, then you can look to the second half of your schedule where the Cowboys will play 5 home games in 7. Unfortunately, they don't have a great home field advantage, so we don't know what that's worth. Regardless, their next 4 opponents are all sitting at under 500 right now. And with the way that the Giants looked, losing embarrassingly to the Cincinnati Bengals today, I believe it was like 31-6 or something like that, and they're only sitting at 6-4. You can kind of see the sketches of a Dallas turnaround for the second half of the season. I know that's an optimistic point of view. There's plenty to be fixed with this team, but let's be honest, the NFC East just isn't very good right now. So we're facing Cleveland, then we face Washington at home for Thanksgiving, then Philly comes in for the rematch, and then we play Cincinnati. So there's kind of a little bit of an outline that you can see Dallas getting to 7-5, maybe even 8-5 before all is said and done. A lot of work will have to be done to get there. We're going to have to continue getting these turnovers and finally getting some help from the offense, because the offensive line is still bad. They're going to need the help. The offense still only scored 17 points on the game, but obviously 3 of their possessions were taken away when the defense just automatically scored. So that's it for your recap for this week. I appreciate you joining in. Make sure you subscribe to all of our YouTube channels. Most importantly, SBN, Blogging the Boys. Also give us a follow on Twitter at Blogging the Boys, or myself personally at KDB10for10, KDP10for10. Make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe to the SBN NFL channel and also SB Nation. Once again, KD Drummond, Blogging the Boys. Cowboys earn a victory, 38-23. Salute.